Good evening, everybody. It's time again for your Rowdies Talk Radio, the Green and Gold Gospel.
Hey there, little Red Riding Hood, I got a problem and it's complicated. Going through changes and I just can't ignore the signs. Hear them now and it's so loud it hurts. Hear me growl and hear me howl when the full moon is out. Hear me growl, you see me run, you see me jump. Try to fight, but I emerge with the poison hand. You better watch out, it's gonna take more than what you got. All eyes are on me and the silence is deafening. You're so helpless against this full moon. Don't ever say I didn't warn you, because I came to play, came to play, I came to play, came to play, I came to play, came to play, I came to play. Wow!
And good evening, morning, afternoon, whenever you are listening to the show, everybody. You are listening to the Unused Substitutes. This feels really, really weird to say after 3 years away. But I'm Dan, joined by Ben, as we start this new season, this 50th anniversary season. Ben, how the hell are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, long days at LA and trying to make sure we are ready to go for all you lovely people. So, but yeah, life is good. I got a little tan going. I can't complain, man.
Good.
How
I mean,
things treating you up there?
it's cold as hell. I thought it was spring,
Did not
but
know.
I miss Florida. Well, I don't miss the 80 degrees at all, to be honest.
We're back to the surface of the sun down here. You don't miss it, I promise you.
Yeah, I mean, I did see this weekend it's going to be glorious for the home opener. The weather is going to be like mid to upper 60s, probably about kickoff, or 70s somewhere. That's beautiful. Excited for that. So that'll be good. A nice welcome home after 7 months. But we'll get into that a bit later. Obviously, there is some heavy emotional stuff to get to first, and to go over, I guess, why we're here, or not why we're here for the Rowdies, but to bring this in together. We're also joined by Stephen Cundiff, who you all might remember from podcasts long ago. But I'm sure you have all heard by now. We have lost our co-founder and host of this glorious podcast, Matt Cox. And I want to say, like, I'm positive not having him here is just as awkward for people listening and not hearing his voice as it is for us not having him shape and host this podcast. I think in the 8 or 9 years I've did this, I've never actually led the conversations. So this is, even when it was Stephen and I think Stephen led the conversations and I was like the color commentator. So this is a bit weird. And because of that, I actually wrote some stuff I wanted to say down. So that bastard actually has me doing show prep for the first time in a decade. This show started because we were two idiots who talked about the Rowdies, drank beer, texted about the Rowdies 24/7. It was, and then at that time, I don't know if a lot of people remember, there was no coverage. It was maybe Derek Sharp there, but that was the media. There was no TV coverage. There was barely any press coverage. And Matt and I were like, well, we talk the Rowdies. Why don't we throw a microphone in front of both of us and see what happens? And our first episode was awful. I don't know. I was banging the table. There was a fish tank behind us that made me had to pee the whole time. It was just an absolute garbage fire. But it was fun. Matt cooked me brats and we had beer. I think it was like 11 in the morning. It was a great time. But since then, it's become so much more, as everybody has said in the weeks since, how much this show has meant to them as helping create a community and just brought people into the fandom. Uh, it's a community led by a large man with a larger heart. You couldn't miss him at a game with his flat cap and his Rouse Mob unsub mat on the back of his jersey. He was his sometimes clever, always cringe jokes would give us a laugh every episode. And a groan. And he loved a movie reference, especially knowing that I never saw the movie and will never get it. He just loved to bury me on that. And he loved a bit. He loved doing a bit. It's been almost a decade, and he wouldn't let my hatred of poutine and cheese curds die. And I think that's in small part to some of you too. Thanks, guys. But I don't know if you guys remember when we were needing to fill content in the off season or a random episode when there's nothing, and we tried to start a supporters war with Birmingham Legion before they even kicked a ball, or the deep dive we did into the biography and the contradictions in the said biography of Pete the Pelican. That was one of the dumbest episodes we've ever done, but it was so fun because he was just so good at that and just keeping the bit going. And if you were able to make his celebration of life, or you've scrolled through his Facebook tags or the Blue Sky, you saw the varied people Matt has inspired and touched through this community, through his teaching and just through life. And yet he was never more thrilled than when anyone at Al Lang recognized him, be it somebody from the front office, a player, or just a fan like the rest of us. He loved it. I can't tell you how many times I get a DM or he'd find me and be like, so-and-so just shook my hand, said they loved the show and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, great, let's drink a beer. But he loved it. He just thrived on it. And it's just like, back to that, like, why else would that man, even though he said he didn't like attention, he didn't like it, but why else would that man put his Twitter handle on the back? I have that jersey somewhere. I'm going to hang it up behind me. But also, I want to go back with those original Twitter handles, that unsub Matt, unsub Dan. I found out later on that that means something completely different to fans of crime shows than it did to us. Watch Criminal Minds. It stands for unsub. Yep. You'll figure it out. Probably not our better idea. But personally, Matt was so much more than a co-host and a co-founder of the show. He really was like my brother. He helped me get through so much grief, breakups. Some of those happened. One of those breakups happened on the Howard Franklin on the way to a Rowdies game. Thank God she's back in Ohio and will never listen to this. But he was also like a big brother, encouraging me and reminding me of my worst impulse. If anybody remembers that Jacksonville mob trip, I sure as hell don't, but he never let me forget. So this episode, this season, is dedicated to our founder, our heart and soul, the preacher of the green and gold gospel, Matthew Cox. And with that, I would love for you guys to throw in any memories, thoughts, feelings, make us cry, make us feel, make us laugh. I'm going to pass that to you guys. And Stephen, do you want to jump in there?
I think he's having some audio issues, so I'll step on for just a second.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, a podcast without audio issues. That sounds strange. First off, I'm so glad both you guys are here. I'm grateful to call you both you guys my friends, and to my small time with the unused substitutes wouldn't even be possible without you two guys, and obviously Matt. Matt and I got really close over our short couple years. Obviously, as he was going through things, I had been through a lot of things as well. We really grounded together in a lot of things, being fathers, having gone through a lot of similar life experiences, loving the Rowdies, and just being men in today's generation. So I don't have a ton of personal stories per se that I want to share publicly, but other than to say that, man, once Matt brought you in and you were part of Matt's circle, you were you got the best of him. I mean, he was just such a gracious guy. He was such a loving guy. He was just like you said, he was larger than life. And I remember when I had spoken to you, Dan, about potentially wanting to talk rowdy soccer, and you were like, "Well, reach out to Matt, see what he says." And so I did, and of course, he was just like, "Heck yeah, let's do it." And I mean, immediately it was just like we were on the go, and it felt natural because he was just so easy to talk to. Anyone that's met him at the match knows that he's always happy to have a good conversation. He loves talking soccer. He loves just he loves people. I mean, it's just he's a people guy, and I love Matt. I love even though our time was short on the pod together. I'm so grateful for all the years of friendship and. To the first time that I ever met both you guys, but I remember Matt specifically was at one of the release parties. I was thinking of the year that we got Joe Cole, and I remember I was listening to you guys. I was living out of state, and I found the Unused Substitute podcast. And in my mind, the podcast, it was this huge thing, and I'm like, because I'm like, you have a podcast for the Rowdies? Like, that's freaking awesome. You guys got everyone's got to know you guys. And I remember the first time I met you, I'm like, I was so nervous to come talk to you both. I'm like, oh my god. Do I go up and say something? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I work stats with the team. It's kind of a mutual. I'm gonna go say hi. And I remember I was nervous about it. You two were like just as awkward as I was, and I was like, okay, this feels way easier to have this conversation now. I mean, like Matt was Matt, and you were you, and it was just like it hasn't. I don't know, man. That was always my first impression, and it lasted. I mean, just because you're just everyday guys talking soccer and. I mean, talking with Matt was just easy, and I'm gonna miss his intros. I'm gonna miss the two podcasts that we could have recorded every time because we jump on the line to kind of start the show. We talk for an hour and realize, oh crap, we didn't hit record, and have to go back and redo the whole show because, well, we just got talking. For anyone that has been listening the last 2 years, you know that we weren't exactly always very scheduled with being on every week, but. We were all over the map sometimes. And it's because really we were just talking about everything. We were really just two friends talking on a pod. And I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss those conversations. I'm going to miss that weekly conversation with my friend. And yeah, that's really all I would say. So what about you, Stephen?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me join you. I mean, for those that don't know, I was the replacement co-host for Dan in the middle of the 2019 season when Dan woke up one morning and decided he wanted to go into politics. So yes. It was a very they came to me and asked if I would want to be Dan's replacement. And that was the first time that there would have been a permanent voice to the podcast since you guys had started it. Which was like a couple of years at that point. My introduction to you guys, I mean, most people around here, around the Rowdies community know that I've been going to Rowdies games. I was at the very first game in 2010. I've been like a season ticket holder for like 14 years or some blah, 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 whatever number. So like I've been a part of the club longer than you guys were because you guys, I think, both joined in like a couple years after the team started, and same with Matt to an extent, is that he kind of jumped in a few years after like the whole thing started, and so like it was I felt very honored by that, but also like that you guys wanted me to be a part of this whole thing, but also I had been listening to you guys already and was like the moment you guys launched the podcast, the moment you guys launched, like, because at that point you guys had a Patreon that you had started to try and collect some funds to get some like equipment or whatever for it and things like that. I mean, I was like an immediate supporter of you guys because, again, just like you said, Dan, you guys filled a niche and a hole that just did not exist outside of Derek Sharp. I mean, Derek was the only one that was doing it as a guest writer for the Times because, I mean, at that point he was still working at WDAE on radio as like a co-host over there, so he would write for the Times part-time, doing guest columns for the Rowdies, and that was all the like official media coverage we would have. And so you guys really filled in as the only people talking about the club. And one of the things that's noteworthy, like, and I think a lot of people don't, if you don't know the history of the podcast, you might not necessarily realize this, but the Unused Substitutes was listened to regularly by like multiple hundreds of people. And I mean globally by multiple hundreds of people. And I mean, everybody that was anybody listened to the show because the Unused Subs, what you guys started, it wasn't really being done by anybody for a dedicated lower division team.
Yep.
There are some podcasts, some of them are still going, that would talk about lower division every now and then. But as a actual like dedicated lower division like media outlet for a specific club, you guys pioneered. And like Matt very much is the spearhead to that. Pioneered a movement that there are people around right now that I don't think would be in podcasting and would be covering media-wise that are prominent figures now. I don't think these shows, those people would exist in their current role if people like Matt hadn't, and Dan, obviously, you too, like if Matt hadn't really started to go, hey, let's do this. And, you know, like the amount of influence he had to just give it a shot, just see what happened. And I think that was, I think when I think back on Matt and I'm looking about, you know, memories of him, pieces of him that impact and what you can take from his life to try and inspire your own, it's just that willingness to just do something. Just give it a try and just have fun with it and see where it goes, and not, you know, kind of like not being willing to say no. Like when they asked us to do a pregame show on Twitch for a couple seasons, and we said, sure, why not? Because our voices, our faces for radio are totally built to go on and do a TV style production. Absolutely. Yeah. But Matt said, yeah, let's go do this. This sounds like fun. Why not? You know?
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one of the things that I loved about Matt is that he wasn't afraid to give it a try. And he would just be like, let's just see how things go. Let's see what this kind of format for the show goes. Let's ask some people if they want to be on the show or whatever. And he would ask around and he'd pop over. And I mean, he guested on a lot of shows nationally too, talking about the Rowdies with other teams as those other podcasts started kind of popping up around the league. And then of course, obviously he got the movie references. And it's funny because Dan says this, right? And he makes this sound like it's such a nonchalant, oh yeah, he comes up with movie references. No. Matt would come up with like vague movie references. Cause like I've watched a fair share of movies and he would get, I mean, he had me beat on a few of references he would make. I just like many smile and nod moments to enter the show. But it was funny because we were coming up, and one of the things that I like, again, it speaks to personality a lot too, and you know, just the kind of person that he was, is that one of the oldest recordings that I've got for the show when I was producing the show and recording the podcast, I still got a bunch of episodes on my computer, and I was going back and listening through them a little bit. And the oldest episode I have is March 18th, 2020. So we're talking days after the COVID lockdown started. Because, I mean, I think it was the NBA shut down their game, like, in the first, like, 2 weeks of March. And that was when they shut down that game, like the whole world basically closed by the end of the week. I'll never forget it because we were watching it like live on like Twitter and everything else. Like, oh, they just suspended the basketball game. And then like by the end of the night, the league was canceled. The next day, every league across every sport was canceled. And then by the end of the week, the whole world was closed. So March 18th was one of the first episodes we did after all that happened. And his intro to me, his introduction was, when he goes to introduce me, and he goes, and joined by the person who has been practicing social distancing his entire life, Stephen Cundiff. And I hate it because of how true it is, even to this day.
And I bet he
But
had that twinkle. He had that twinkle in his eye when
oh,
he was setting that up too. I guarantee you.
oh, he must have heard that some point in the day or the week, and he just sat on that waiting for that opportunity. Yeah, and it's amazing because like it showed that like when he heard something that he thought was funny or something, he made sure to save it for special moments.
Yeah.
Because these types of things, even these little hobbies, the people that he knew, he cared about.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it's a weird way to kind of say like, oh yeah, I made fun of people because he loved them, but like that's very much like what it was, right? And you know that kind of stuff. Those are all the memories that you remember. Those are the things that stick with you in the moment that endear somebody to you. And when you do it for as long as you do, I mean, me and him, because then at one point obviously he left. Dan, you came on and it was you and I, and then there was a couple of shows where the three of us did it together, and it kind of bounced around a little bit. But I mean, we did it for about almost 4 years together, Matt and I, doing the podcast. And I mean, that's a lot of episodes. That is a lot of episodes. I mean, when you consider it was almost one a week.
Yep.
I mean, that's about 40 episodes a year, give or take.
Yeah.
By at a minimum. I mean, that's a lot of time together. And just like Ben was saying, it wasn't just the episode. We would sit there and talk for an hour, hour and a half after the show was over.
Yep.
And it's funny because like we're doing this as we're not doing this live anymore, right? So like it's funny how like we were talking about that before this recording started, was like how different this environment is compared to being like you've got to be locked in because you're on Radio St. Pete and it's like you can't mess up. Like you have to have a structure, a flow, a beginning, an end, and a timing structure because you've got a specific block to meet. And it was like we took it seriously.
Yeah.
We really did make an effort to take it seriously and give something everybody wanted to hear. And I think when I look at the response that I saw at the celebration and the response that I saw on Facebook when the Rowdies posted their memoriam post, it shows me that like what we did and what he did, it really did mean something. Even if it didn't necessarily pan out the way we wanted it to, when we had like grandiose ideas about what we could make the show at the time, it still mattered.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that like hit me the most and hit me the hardest when we were there celebrating his life the other week.
Yeah, it was, I mean, funny to me, I guess, but not like haha funny. But the way the room kind of segregated to his different sections of life, like the Rowdies fans were here, and then his like college fraternity brothers and the sorority sisters, and then his teaching crew, and it was just the amount of people this man has impacted. And I think like when I posted it on Blue Sky and soccer pods and shows and people from the Cooligans to shows I didn't even know he listened to or I've never heard of that he's guested on and knows him and loves him because either he just supported them financially or it's incredible the reach and influence that man had. And it all kind of started just because he was like, why don't we just talk Rowdies? And it was a whim. Like it really was he invited me down to oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name again. Not Corrigan's, the other Crowley's, to pick up the Ralph's Mob stuff that like the membership pack that year. And that was the first time I ever met him in person. He was just sending me bad jokes on Twitter, and and then we decided to do it, and then we talked, and he convinced him. I think he probably told Brittany back in the day from the ticket office to call me for season tickets, and like I'm at work, and she calls, and she's like, "Do you want to buy season tickets?" And I was like, why do you know that I want to buy season tickets? And I'm pretty sure he probably said something. And then we shortly after we started recording the show, and I think it was definitely easier to agree to do the show than it was to find out a name for this show. I think it took us 2 to 3 weeks to come up with a name, and like I can't tell you the amount of bad names we had, and this is the one we stuck with. And recently, talking to Aaron and Casey, people thought the logo is Matt and I on a bench. It is not. We found that photo randomly on the internet and then just created the gradient and changed the photo. It is not Matt and I. That's two strange dudes that I don't know. I couldn't even tell you where we found the picture. It was like a quick Google. So that's not us. It is not us. I should have probably kept the myth going, but
I was going to say, you should let that one go.
I know for a fact I thought it was a colorized photo of the two of you.
I definitely
when I
thought
first
that
saw
as
it.
well.
nope. If you look at the smaller guy, his nose is not big enough to be me from the
True.
profile.
True.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, I mean, because I definitely thought for sure. Well, all right. Well, I guess
Nope.
that's gone now.
There you go. There's a little behind the scenes look.
Took that one from me. God.
By the way, Santa's not real.
How dare you?
You know what? I'm just no. I'll make my beard go full white for December, and I'm gonna bring him back. I'm taking it back.
Somehow
I'll dye it brown again.
having the three of us here and losing Matt, somehow this podcast still feels older having you here, Ben.
That's just the great talking, and I'm proud to take that one on.
I think Matt had 6 years on you, and you're still bringing the age up.
Okay, technically, yes, my age is up, but let's be honest, maturity-wise, I am at the bottom here. So just going to put that out there. I think anyone who knows me knows I am a grown man child. It is what it is.
It really is funny to think about, like, how much younger I am than all three of you were.
You're just
Yeah.
a baby.
Like,
Yeah.
by, like, a decent margin, too, funny enough.
And
I mean, you're not that young, Steven. Slow down there,
Yeah,
kiddo.
but Dan's
okay?
older than you think. That's
true.
part of the
That's
point,
true.
though, right?
I
Dan
am-
always
He
surprises
still looks
people.
young, though. Yeah, but look, he cleans up well, and then you put him next to that really gorgeous wife of his, and he looks like he's in his 20s again.
True.
It's like, come on.
it's
Me,
funny.
I shave this off. You get two chins, and I just like a fat guy with two chins. I mean, it doesn't help. It doesn't get better. I mean, this is what I got.
I'm actually older now than Matt was when we started the podcast.
Ooh.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. That's it. I'm out.
Yeah, Matt wasn't even 40 yet when we started the podcast. I just turned
wow.
30. He was 38, 39. Because we did an escape room for his 40th birthday.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I started listening in 2015, right before I moved back from Colorado. 2014. No, 2014. And the dogs don't like that either.
It's Ben, you jot this timestamp down so that way you can cut it.
Yeah.
Nope, no. We may not be live, but it's all going in. It's all going. Short of an F-bomb, this is all sticking in there, fellas.
F-bomb
All right,
is the
so
line.
3, 2, 1, F-bomb.
I'm the captain now, Steven. I do the editing. It's me. Oh, man. Yeah. But see, the way this conversation's going right now, this is how it was with Matt pre-show. This is exactly what it was.
Yep.
And again, like it's the part I miss the most.
It was
Because
like a
it was
group therapy
just
session. It was
fun.
a group therapy
Yes.
session.
Like anyone who knows Matt knows he had some stuff going on. I had some stuff going on. It was just great to have somebody my age that I could relate to, being a dad and just having that to bounce off of, man. And, I mean, obviously I love you guys and you guys are great friends. I think the world of you both, but it was nice to have somebody who was also my age, a father who understood a lot of the things that, I was facing and he was facing. And it was just, I feel like he and I came together on the show at a really good time together. So I was just very grateful for that, for that.
That's what this show was. Like, I've told the story too many times, but like it was because he knew I needed something after my dad died, because he also lost his father when he was young. And he was like, soccer is a great distraction, and friends and soccer, let's go. And it filled that need for me. It filled a community need. I think it filled a need for him. So it's a silly soccer show that just meant a lot to everybody involved, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, but guys, listen. Let's face the reality that this is the reason why this conversation is so good and why we bond so well is that in reality it's actually trauma bonding, because if we look at the way the Rowdies are playing right now and we look at the way the Rowdies were playing when this podcast originally started and the years immediately following, we're realizing that this is just us really just trying to make it through the year.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! What did you
Yeah.
just do, Stephen? What did you
Yep.
just do?
Our communication's better than the Rowdies backline with their goalkeeper.
Oh, that's not wrong. Oh, mother of pearl.
Oh Lord. Oh.
Yeah. You got that right. Okay. Maddie, we love you, buddy. We miss you, man.
Yeah.
Things will never be the same without you, bud.
That's gonna, we used to always end the shows with "We love yous," and it's gonna. Matt gets the eternal "We love you."
Damn right.
All right, so are we ready to move into the somehow less fun conversation about the actual team? Is that?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys have tons
Yeah,
of fun
thank you,
with that.
Steven.
Yeah.
We love you, Stephen.
We love you, Steven.
I'll just say, yeah, we love you, man. I'm so glad you were here. It wouldn't have
Yes.
felt right without you here.
Yes, thank you for being my replacement back in 2019 when I went crazy. Thank you for carrying the show those years, and thank you for being here and sharing your feelings and your thoughts and everything else. I appreciate you, love you, and enjoy the home opener hopefully on Saturday.
Yep. I'll see everybody at the game on Saturday, and thank you guys for bringing me on to be a part of this this portion of the episode and this experience this week, because I was literally the substitute to the unused subs, and so it always felt not awkward, but like to an extent, like you never really get over the feeling that you're just third wheeling like the real people, and so.
Welcome to my life.
Right. But I appreciate you guys having me on for this and
Of course.
being able to share in this this episode. We're going to miss him dearly.
If the season gets so bad you need therapy, you can hop on anytime.
Yep. The mic is always open to you.
Oh, I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it.
Have a good night, Steven.
Yep. You too, guys. And enjoy talking rowdy soccer.
The way he says that, it just. All right.
We stand for soccer, guys.
All right. You.
Oh, cut his
Don't
mic.
make
Cut
me
his
sick.
mic.
You know what I want to talk about now, right? You know.
Your effort at cutting my mic is going to rebound like Campisi hitting it off the back of Aaron Guillen. That's how that's going to play. So with that, you guys have a great night and enjoy the rest of the show. Bye.
Bye.
God, he just dropped a showstopper. Dang. How do you
know.
go on from that?
Easy.
Damn.
That's actually a
Look.
great segue into what we're going to talk about like, are we bad? Are we unlucky? Are we everything? Are we bad and unlucky? Like, where, Robbie Nielsen has had, he came in 2023 in that off season. So he had all of last year to try to learn the league. He had a mix between new signings and a lot of Neil Collins' team. And then, like, the end of the season, we didn't have a home stadium because, hurricanes and flooding. And we bombed, and, like, the form dipped, and then we, like, got dragged into the playoffs by, I think, by, like, one or two people, like, just put us on their back and got us into the playoffs. And then, lost to Charleston and bombed out. And then he had this whole offseason to build a team that is his. but still has a wonky schedule because we haven't been able to be home. Like I said, Saturday's the home opener and the first time they're playing at Al Lang in 7 months. The team put out a badass hype video tonight. So it like, are we bad? Are we unlucky? Is it both? Does he also have like the problem that Neil Collins was the preceding manager, where like it felt that we had a different mentality, and like is Robbie Nielsen just stuck in a perfect storm of crap that like no matter what he does, it's not going to work? And is he a victim of circumstance? Is he a bad manager? What is your take on the 2024 season and the lead in to the last like 4 games of this 2025 season?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of irony in the fact that the player who carried us into the playoffs against the team that beat us just played us and scored and talked crap to our goalkeeper while doing so. Cal Jennings. That's kind of a brutal one to take right there. No, I mean, I think last year was probably a lot of those things. I kind of put 2025 in its own basket. You and I had talked in the offseason just casually about kind of our hopes for the team, and I think Robbie's expectations and how long is that leash, right? And obviously finishing rough, finishing away was tough, and I think there was probably some apathy in that. But coming to this year, having your first 4 games away, I mean, that's tough too. I mean, you want to get established at home. I'm not ready to jump and say, look, he's not doing a good job. I can't pinpoint his. I don't know if it's form or if it's him. It's so hard to tell because some of the mistakes are not coaching. Some of the mistakes are purely on the players, and it just like to Steven's joke. I mean, Kempisi hitting loose in the back of the head. It's like that's not coaching. That's soccer 101. That's stuff that these guys have been doing for 25 years. I mean, just simple things, simple mistakes. This past weekend, I mean, crossing the ball in the middle of the field directly to the other team as turnover. Like, how many times in that broadcast did we hear another turnover? Another. I mean, it just. I know that we're not used to these things under Neil, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's exclusive for Robbie either. I think we've got a chance here of a good home run to do some good things. But if we walk out of these next few games and we're still making the same mistakes and we're still not seeing any growth, we're not seeing more of an attacking mindset, if we're not seeing crisper passes and more possession in the game, then yeah, I think we have to start talking about, is it Robbie's game plan? Is it, is the message being received? Is the team, listening? Is there ascension in the ranks? You have to start questioning that because some of this stuff, I can't pinpoint why it's happening because it's not something we've ever seen here, even back into the Stu Campbell. Well, maybe Stu Campbell.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've seen it. I've done a lot of these episodes.
It's been a really, really, really long time, and, I also look, and maybe me being the eternal optimist, I want to see him have success. Does that mean him winning the league? No, I don't think that's reasonable. But I want to see a competitive team that's consistent, and we have seen zero consistency at all throughout these 4 games, other than mistakes and the same mistakes, and it's driving me absolutely bonkers because the talent we have on our team is good enough for that, or is better than that, and I don't know. I mean, is there something specific that you've seen that maybe kind of stood out to you that kind of makes you think one way or the other?
So it's again hard because again, a lot of it is unlucky. That penalty call this weekend, especially, was not a penalty. It was not a penalty by any stretch of imagination. But I think what stood out to me to your thing about Cal talking crap to like the keeper, Kempisi pointed to the spot and said, "I know you're going to kick it here," but and then he didn't save it. I promise you, under Neil, I don't know if that guy would have finished the game. I think he either would have been benched at halftime. I don't think, or like we wouldn't see him for a couple games. I can't say Robbie's not going to start him at the home opener. That's a possibility, but I don't know if Neil would have allowed him to come out of the locker room as a starter at that point. Like that, it's those little things. And like, don't get me wrong, goalkeepers are all batty. Like they're all lunatics. I don't think I mind a keeper like chirping. But if you're gonna do that, make the save. Like, especially when you've played.
Dive to the side you pointed to.
Yeah,
like all the way, go all out.
And so I think there's things mentally that that aren't as crisp either, which I think goes to the lackadaisical passing and the mental I think Robbie's the style's fine. Like when they're on, when they're playing, is attractive football. Like I enjoyed watching the Rowdies win games last year, and they scored buckets of goals but it's the same Stu Campbell, and because on the road we suck. It was like Neil left, and our road form went with him. And don't get me wrong, it's hard. It is hard. And I think the difference Neil has over Robbie was Neil played a few games in the league and knew the travel, saw what has to happen on the road, and Robbie doesn't have that experience. So
Yeah.
you would hope that after a year of it, you might have picked it up, might have learned. But I don't know. It just feels like that mental component isn't there that we had under Neil. Where like I remember during a pregame show, I think it was Zach Steinberger, said, we just got to be better than the worst ref. And it doesn't feel that. Like you have Lawrence White not getting a call, pounding the ground, throwing temper tantrums, like those little things where maybe they're like Neil's personality took over, where I think the players' personalities are taking over, which there is a fine line there, I think, but I think that the mental component's not there. But, like I said, when they're on, they play fun soccer. Like, how many games did we score? Like, when we scored one, it felt like three more were coming, and they usually did. Like, but then we'd give up 3 or 4, the last like 5-10 minutes because his subs were. Anyway, this isn't a full critique of Robbie. I have faith. I will say I have made a Scottish friend up here who hates Robbie Nielsen due to Scottish soccer rivalries. He was telling me some stories on Sunday about how how he hates him, and I'm gonna maybe try to send him a photo this weekend. But. I mean, you want Robbie to do well because if Robbie's doing well, the Rowdies are doing well, and
right.
If he's not, I also I don't know. I mean, I do think personally, the seat needs to get a little warm. It's not on fire. I know if Matt was doing the show with us, he would say, Neil always said that judge me after 10 games, and it's only been 4, and he's right. He's right. It is too early. Players are still learning, but I do. There's been also a lot of turnover in the front office. That we don't behind the scenes in the last 2 years, not this season, but just not. So people are still fine, and things are coming together. I do feel good about the direction. I think Robbie Nielsen was a very ambitious hire. I didn't get to talk about this, 2 years ago when we hired him. So. Back in the punditry business. But no, I think he was an ambitious hire. It wasn't in the USL ecosystem or, the lower league soccer ecosystem in America. And we'll see. I will always back taking a risk than and failing than playing it safe and just mediocrity. I would rather see us go for it and instead of just playing it safe.
See, so I would like to play a little devil's advocate, though, here and saying, is that a risk we're taking, though, when we know there's a lot of good coaches that are in this league that are here in the U.S. that know these players that might be better for what we're doing right now? Do you think jumping straight into Robbie was the right move? Because let's be honest, Neil was, needle in a haystack. I mean, he was. I think we're very fortunate because it wasn't just his style of coaching, it wasn't just his style of management. I mean, he was bought in 100. He was the Rowdies were Neil, and Neil was the Rowdies. I mean, those are very symbiotic, and that was a very unique thing to experience here. But I don't think that means that's the only way it can happen. We see plenty of other teams throughout the league that are having plenty of success, that are finding coaches here in the U.S. that are familiar with the league, familiar with the players, familiar with the system, and the challenges of the travel. Again, this isn't me knocking Robbie. It's just playing devil's advocate a bit and thinking, was that do we think that's the right move? I mean, should we have considered maybe something internal, or I don't know.
I mean, you're talking to me who would have loved to have seen somebody internally, somebody that came up through Neil. Pardon my social justice warrior, but a black coach that came up we've had a very white bench, so Jan Ekra getting on the bench is huge for me. we need more black
Yes.
coaching in USL MLS. I wrote that article for RBLR. You guys can go check it out.
Awesome.
But I think I would have preferred that. But I also do think like Robbie, has coached success in, I guess you could say, a bigger league. Whatever, the USL is the biggest league in the world, but only the Eastern Conference. The Western Conference doesn't actually exist.
No.
But so I think it was an ambitious hire. That doesn't make it the right one, the wrong one. I mean, time will tell. I don't think we really. It's not like we lost anything. It's not like we built a generation from our like academy and have this golden generation that was squandered. It's the USL. You can rebuild a roster every year. I do think that Louisville is still the model. They have coaches and players come and go, and they are consistently solid. So the whatever formula they're doing, I was really hoping Neil built for us, because Neil, like you said, was a needle in a haystack. He was a player that played for us that just never coached a game in his life and came in and was like built a culture. Like he built the modern Rowdies. Like Ricky Hill, like gave us life with winning that 2012 championship and gave us the ground, like the foundation. And then Neil came in and just built the cathedral, I guess you could say. Like, if Al Lang could really truly be the house that Neil built, since it's a baseball stadium that Babe Ruth played in. Anyway, but it just sucks that like it feels like some of that ethos, that mentality, is gone. I mean, you do still have Lewis Hilton, who is the workhorse and that like embodies the Neil Collins. Same with Aaron Guillen. He has a bit of Neil's flair for the dramatic. And so, like some of those guys, Forrest Lasso, if he can get healthy and back in that back line, I think that might help with some communication in the between the keeper and the defense.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think it's hard to judge all of this because again, there's stuff Neil never had to deal with, hurricanes. Right. Well, he did have hurricanes, but not that flooded Al Lang and kicked them out for the home stretch of the season and the playoffs. And then 4 or 5 games on the road to start a season. But unlucky things like a ball off the back of your defender that goes in, or a terrible PK call, and then like chirping, and so Robbie has had to fight a unique set of circumstances, but also the results aren't there, and it's a results-based industry and game. So like it's really hard to know when you blow the whistle and call it. Also, are we starting to look at other coaches? Like, is that something, like somebody in the front office is like swiping right on at night, like what, I don't know. I don't have those answers. And is it too early to even be thinking about that? I know the Casuals had a sign last year at IMG. I thought that was premature, but we were making the playoffs. But I get the anger, I guess. I don't want to say, or like the frustration. That's probably the right word, the frustration, because the Rowdies were, punching back and forth with Louisville, and then we were suddenly, in a blink of an eye, struggling to get into the playoffs. So, and it always falls to the manager, fairly or not.
Yeah, I mean, well, and again, like we've said, I mean, we were brought into a standard, an expectation as fans, and fans like to the Skyway Casual point. It's like, look, fans are going to do what fans. That's what they're supposed to do. You don't like it, do something about it. Prove it on the field, and that's not a call out to any one or any specific person within Rowdy's organization. That's the team in general. I mean, if players and coaches and staff don't want to listen to these things and don't want to hear some of the hard truths about the hard feelings of what fans are feeling, then they need to do something about it. And I'm with you. I think in moments, in very small portions, man, there has been some buildup and movement that is just beautiful soccer. So it's like, and you and I have talked about this in weeks past. I mean, it's like there are moments where it is just gorgeous and fun to watch, but it's so inconsistent. And I think, going forward into these next 5 games, I think something that for me to feel comfortable and confident and Robbie that we're moving in the right direction with not just is that we are we're seeing bigger bunches of consistent play. We're seeing the team not necessarily make less mistakes. I want to see us not making the same mistakes over and over again. I want to see consistency start to build. I want to see, I want to see us scoring more goals. I'd like to see us finishing our chances. I mean, I was looking at the stats beforehand. I think right now, when it comes to conversion rate, right now on goals for shots, we're at 7%. And that's an insane number. Now, I look, 30, 40, 50% is stupid high. We're not going to get there. And I don't know if we've ever been above 30%, but 7%? That's crazy to me. I mean, our time of possession, all these things are just super low. And none of it makes sense. I mean, our shooting accuracy is 30%, conversion rate, 7%, shots on target, 13 through 4 games. I mean, goals, we've got 3. I don't know, man. I'm trying not to overthink or worry too much because I do believe there's something to being back home. I think, and for the fans that don't know, and for anyone that doesn't know me at this point, yes, I work with the team. I work for the Rays in IT. I spent 7 years as groundskeeper with the team. I love Rowdies. I bleed this color. I bled on that field, literally. My blood, sweat, and tears are in this organization. I love this team as much, if not more, than anybody else out there. I believe that getting these guys home into the cathedral, I think, is important. Getting around your fans is important. That 12th man is big. Seeing what the stadium looked like after everything happened and knowing what it's looking like right now and where it's headed to what these guys are going to see when they walk in, I think these are all motivating factors. And I have faith and I believe that these things will help. But as these are all helping building blocks, they are just parts of what help build the energy, but the team has got to finish it. They've got to do something with it, and I think it's important that we see not just from Robbie, but from the players and from the fans, keep that expectation high. Look, I mean, I don't want average, and I don't want anyone out there competing to want average. I want us all to expect big, because if you shoot for big and you come a little short of that, all right, well, so what? I would rather shoot for the stars and come in just a little bit short. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let me ask you this: we have a 5-game homestand coming up? How many? What is the point total that is acceptable coming out of that? Is 15, 12? I don't know if that's even possible, but how many points do you want to see out of this homestand?
That's a really good question. I have to go back and yes, I'm doing this live, people.
Yeah,
I am going back and looking at who we have to play. I mean, we've got
See,
this is Loudon, which is insane to me. By the way, how the hell is Loudon in first place?
yeah. But that's what I want to say though. There was a time, what year are we? 2025, 2021, 2022. You wouldn't have had to look at the home or who we're playing to say this is the accepted. We would want 10 points or 12 points out of this homestand, and that's acceptable. But now we got to see we're already measuring our expectations because we're just not there yet. And
that's a fair point. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, and yes, I am looking at the schedule and I am looking at the teams up there. I mean, look, I would like to see. I think for me to feel good, and I don't care if they're blowouts or 1-goal games. I think if we can pull,
see, it's hard.
I'm all right. I'm gonna set my expectation up. I'm gonna go with 9 points. I think if we can pull 9 points out of 5 games, that's 3 wins. I'm gonna be really happy with that. I think that to me will say, because I mean, look, that's also going against Loudon number 1. You got Louisville City, you got Birmingham. I mean, Miami's the worst team in the league. They're awful right now. I think they have 0 points. So and we beat them already. So I'm gonna say that should be a win. I don't know anything. Well, we've also got Naples in there too. Does that count?
Okay, so Naples is the Open Cup. So take that out. So we got 4 games. So that's out of 12 points, right?
Well, the next game, if you go to the 5, is Charleston. So look, I'm still going to stick to the 5, taking out the Open game, and I'm going to say this: I still want to see 9 points because I think the team is talented enough to get 9 points, especially if you want to set the standard that we did from last year, which is, at home we are good. This is our home, because even bad teams can be consistently good at home. And I think we should be able to get 9 points out of the next 5 home regular season games. I
Yeah.
think even against challenging teams, that should be doable. And I think if you do that, then I think we have to maybe remeasure what our expectations are for the next 10.
Okay, I don't disagree. I'm going to aim a little higher and say 11 points. But the caveat, asterisk, whatever about how we look, I can drop. I am very much an aesthetic over results if it's entertaining. Because the sports to me, like going to a game or watching a game, whether it's now that I'm up here, like either on my TV or at Beer Run, I want to be entertained while I'm watching a game, especially if I'm there. So if we're playing well and something stupid happens, like a bad penalty call, I'm less upset because we were going for it, we were entertained, it was fun, whatever. But performance-wise, strictly, I would love to see 11 points from these home games. That includes some draws. I don't really, so I don't know. But I think no matter what happens after this Saturday, I think everybody needs to bring their energy on Saturday. Support this club,
Yes.
support these guys, support Robbie, support all of them, and just reopen Al Lang with as much noise, as much fun and energy as we possibly can, because this club deserves it. Like they, if I was doing the show at the end of last year, like I think we would have talked. I would have talked about the human element of families being driven across the state to get out of hurricanes and trying to figure out practice, and kids and babies. A lot of these guys are new dads and have so like the stress of all that, plus trying to figure out how to play a game in a stadium you don't know where you're gonna be. There was a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that like that human mental element, all that should be last year's water under the bridge. It's forgotten. These guys are here. We have 1 win in 4 games. It's time to make that 2 out of 5, and like the comeback starts now. And we're going to do it on our turf. We're going to reopen Al Lang, reopen it as the fortress it was, and support these guys. And and at the end of the day, even if the team on the field might not be great, our graphics are great. Like the social media team is killing it. I love everything they're doing. Their TikTok, the videos are good. The 50th anniversary graphics and this like retro feel, I love it. And I can't do any kind of graphic design, so I'm triply impressed.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think you're right. Obviously, again, working for both Rays and Rowdies, like we didn't get to send off the Trop the way we wanted to. The same way we didn't get a way to send off Al Lang. But we get to reopen Al Lang. We don't get to reopen the Trop, and we have no idea when that's going to happen or if it's going to happen. But we have that here. We have that home. Let me tell you it. The lights that the guys walk out, the tunnel they walk out of, like that thing, it's back. The locker rooms, they're back. Like the energy that can be created by what ownership has done, by front office and the guys that you don't think about, the ops people that don't ever get talked about. They have been busting their butts nonstop to do everything they can to give the stadium its life again. And I mean, as somebody who is playing a part in it, but also witnessing it, I'm so excited because I love Al Lang. Look, it's our house, man. And I mean, even if we lose, I'm still excited to be able to watch soccer in this stadium and root on this team that I have loved. It's the Rowdies, for those that don't know, it's the first professional team I ever followed. I loved, back in 1980, I'm dating myself, 84, 5, I was watching the Rowdies. We were season ticket holders.
That's when I was born.
Okay, you're just a baby, but whatever. Shut up.
My wife was born 12 years later.
Oh, God. Bless America. Nope. Back to my point. I love you, Casey. You're wonderful. It's Dan I can't stand. You're fine. I mean, I remember sitting there and watching Steve Wegerle and Winston Dubose and Perry Vanderbeck, and these guys play. Like Rowdies is just in my DNA, and so for me, it's an honor to go watch this team when they came back, and in 2010, like I remember my friend Kai brought me back into the Rowdies, and he got me out to a game and reinvigorated. Then you guys with the show, it's like win, lose, draw, I don't care. I'm always going to love the Rowdies. I'm always going to support this team, and being able to do a podcast about the team as well, for me, is just awesome. For me, this is great because I didn't get to talk about the team for a long time, and I get to do that now, and so I hope that people are as excited as I am. I want people to listen to this episode. I want people to listen to the Rebler guys. I want people to go look at all the social media posts. I want people to be excited. Get your gear out. Go get your fandom on, man. Bring a friend and just have fun. Be loud. Be obnoxious. That's the fun part of being a Rowdies fan, is like there's a little bit for everybody. If you want to get loud and raucous, go join the mob. If you want to go a little more family atmosphere, a little more upscale, go sit in the midfield section. There's a great new area back there for you guys. Like there's anything that you can be had here. And as far as and Dan, you can speak to this too. I mean, like, people are welcoming there. Like, I mean, there's a great, fun group of people. For the most part, you can meet a lot of really awesome people at these games. I have made some of the greatest friends I have today just by Rowdy Soccer. It's so I hope people are coming out with, yes, expect big things from this team, but also remember, we get to come out and watch Rowdy Soccer this weekend back home, and we didn't know if we were going to get to do that the end of last year. So it's a privilege to get to come do this and be excited about it.
Yeah.
The team needs us as much as we need them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like, to make this a little meta, is like what makes soccer so much more interesting to other sports. That the relationship between supporter and club, and some might say calling ourselves supporters and not fans feels like elitist, blah blah blah. But it's a different relationship. It is between the club and the people in the stands and the supporters groups. And I think I know Ralph's mom and Skyway Casuals are gonna be ready for action, and I'm sure they have a lot of pent up energy as well from waiting 7 months from being there. Like this, the off season has felt a lot longer this year because of all of this stuff. And I am actually very excited to be there. It'll be my first game in.
Oh, but say that again.
I will be at the home opener. I will be there.
Oh,
live
snap.
and in person. So. Let's party, let's make this a fun time. It's going to be a little emotional for me.
Yep.
I know that. But we don't need to do that again.
Yep.
Actually, let me take it there for a second. I want to say, like, grief is weird. It is unpredictable. It is different for every person. I know Matt has influenced a lot of people. Might have triggered some other grief. I know personally, like this past Sunday was also the 11th anniversary of my dad passing, dealing with and then grieving Matt, who was the person who helped me get through that. It's been a lot. My DMs are always open. I can, if you want to like reach out on Facebook Messenger, Blue Sky, Instagram, text message, WhatsApp, please don't hesitate. Or, find somebody, please don't hold it in, talk to somebody. Grief is heavy. It is, we're a community. That is what Matt wanted this podcast and the Rowdies fan to be. So just reach out to somebody, and we're in this together. So don't hesitate to talk, and don't carry this all by yourself, which is one of the many reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, bring this podcast back, finally get to work with you and not just make fun of you privately. I can do it publicly now.
You'll get plenty of that in, I'm sure. It's going to be a long season, so there might be a lot of jokes coming. So, that's okay.
But yeah, I just want to make sure everybody knows, like, we're here to talk. We're open. And if it's not us, somebody close, please. Just grief is a mess. Anyway, now that we brought this back up from the Rowdies play, the emotions are back. But yeah, I'll be there this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I think next week we're going to also do, this show is going to be recorded regularly now.
Yes.
And we will recap the home opener. And try to build some actual structure into the show. So, but I liked the freewheeling conversation, but we will bring back elements past, maybe create some new elements going forward. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end or something. I think Matt likes Semisonic. I don't know. That was your guys' era, wasn't it? Like,
But you got me on this one. Yes, he was, but you've lost me here. When I was that age, I was probably listening to some bad techno band. Let's be honest.
At least Matt and I got our music taste was similar. Like that, I can get his music,
Your music taste
references.
is awful. No, your music is awful. I'm sorry. I refuse to accept that. I mean, I love you guys, but no, that's not going to happen.
I mean, I think we should. We should reach out to like Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam was his favorite band. We should see if we can.
Okay,
get some.
Pearl Jam's good though. I can get with that.
See.
Yeah, I can do. Look, I can do the grunge stuff. That's fine. But you start getting into some of the other.
Not everybody's an emo kid like me. Like, I get that, but
Yeah.
we're not listening to your 60s doo-wop, you old man. Like,
well, before you knock the doo-wop, first and foremost, don't mock doo-wop. I'm not saying I listened to it, but don't do that. It had its moment of time, and it was great. No, I am. Look, I'm in my reggae era and my Cali roots stuff, and that's where I live right now. And it's all good vibes, man. That's how I live. Because otherwise, I'd go around punching people and kicking small cars or something. I don't know. That's not true. I'm not a violent person.
I'm
just a big teddy bear.
Like folk rock is kind of where I'm at. Just chill, folky, banjo, guitar.
Yeah. Welcome to old age.
Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah, I didn't know it was going to happen until it happened. Welcome.
Yep.
Well, look, to your point though, yes, guys, we're going to add a bunch of new stuff this season. We're talking about some cool new ways of doing things. We want to keep it fresh. We want to make sure we keep that memory alive for Matt. But I think this is a great chance just this season to do something special and try something new and just see how it goes. We both love talking rowdy soccer. We're both friends. So, I mean, like, this is kind of just easy and something fun for us to do. So we hope you guys enjoy it. And, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Keep it happening.
I can't get away. I have tried several times and keep pulling me back because I can't get enough of the Rowdies. And,
because I have his home address. I know where he lives.
But I wouldn't miss it. I mean, I think, this show should continue format for the 50th anniversary. I enjoy doing the show, actually, believe it or not. I'm excited. So let's see what the year brings on the field, off the field. And we'll continue to bring you content and, the best Rowdies content, the best Rowdies content, the green and gold gospel.
Yes. That's right, man. The only way. All right, man. Do we want to cap it here? Or?
Yeah, we can end it here. That seems like a good place to leave off. We can, we used to do, like I said, we used to always do We Love You at the end of every episode. Mine goes not just to Matt, but to Pod Daughter as well. She gets a We Love You, and everybody else surrounded by Matt and affected by his little Irish exit from life. So I will end it there. You got a We Love You?
Yeah. I think you said it perfectly. I think it belongs right there with them.
All right. So we'll talk to you all next week. We'll see you this weekend. And thanks for listening.
Yeah. We'll see you guys. Come on, you Rowdies.
The Rowdies run here, the Rowdies run there, they kick the ball around. The Rowdies run here, the Rowdies run there, and then they fall on the ground. Oh, the Rowdies, the Rowdies, the Rowdies are kicking the grass. When the Rowdies play soccer, it's a sight to behold. You'll swear they'll be devils with magical toes. You'll laugh, you'll cheer, you'll leap from your seat when they kick with their head instead of their feet. The Rowdies run here, the Rowdies run there, they kick the ball around. The Rowdies run here, the Rowdies run there, and then they fall on the ground. Oh, the Rowdies, the Rowdies, the Rowdies are kicking the grass. When the Tampa Bay Rowdies take the field, there's a roar. The fans